JJ3K here, and the JJ and 3K, it stands for James Jones, or you know, also Jim Jones. That name. Um, Growing up, I could never really escape, hearing about like that other Jim Jones. The cult leader. And the unfortunate travesty that happened at Jamestown or Guyana. Um, you know, because of that, I've always had this kind of like forced interest in the subject of cults. I've seen a lot of documentaries. It just kind of entered my atmosphere because of my name, um, and it's something I've kind of had to live with. You know, Before I get started, this video is not an attack on religion or politics or any specific group. It's just me trying to understand something that defies logic to me. Um, how people can be convinced to follow another human being as if they're some divine, creature. Um, and a lot of times, unfortunately, like hurting themselves and going against their best interest in the process. Um, so today, I want to talk about 10 signs that you might be in a cult. Number one, like a single unquestioned leader. Um, if one person's word is treated as the ultimate truth, beyond question, beyond doubt, that's kind of a red flag. Um, Healthy leaders, they invite accountability for their own actions and criticism. You know, um, while cult leaders, they demand obedience, loyalty, and worship. Sign two would be like us versus them thinking. You know, Cults absolutely thrive on division. They'll tell you the outside world is evil or corrupt or doomed, and like only their group has the answers. This kind of creates a fear of living, and it makes their members more dependent. Sign three is like isolation from family and friends. When a particular group encourages you to cut ties with your loved ones, that's a sign of control. Um, Isolation makes people easier to manipulate, quite honestly, because your only source of truth is, the group itself. Sign four would be what I call like love bombing. In the beginning, it feels amazing. You're showered with love and attention and acceptance. You feel like you found your home. But later, once you're hooked, the same warmth is going to be replaced by pressure or control, and punishment or threats if you step out of line. Sign five would be like control of your daily life. Like what you eat, how you dress, who you talk to. Some groups will try to micromanage like every aspect of your life. That's not guidance. That's them trying to take ownership. And the more they control the small things, it's much easier for them to control the big things. Sign six would be like doomsday or special mission narratives. Many cults survive on the story of urgency. The world is ending soon. Only we could save humanity. The mission depends on you. This kind of creates a pressure to sacrifice more money, more time, like even your health, because the cause they paint as bigger than life itself. Sign 7 would be like the exploitation of members. Um, Look at where the resources go. Do members give up labor, money, property, while their leaders like live in luxury? Exploitation is always framed as like a sacrifice for the greater good. Um, but the truth is like, someone's benefiting, and if you look close enough, it's not the ordinary member. It's typically the leaders. Sign 8 would be like suppression of doubt. In a healthy community, like questions are welcomed. In a cult, questions are punished, are threatened. Doubts are framed as like weakness or sin or betrayal. Members learn to silence their own critical thinking, and that kind of keeps them trapped within like the group's reality. Sign 9 would be like constantly changing beliefs. Like cults like often move the goalposts. Um, like failed prophecies get re-explained. Contradictions are just ignored. The leader could change rules like at a moment's notice. And then the members are just like expected to adapt without any question. It creates confusion, and that confusion actually strengthens the dependence on the leader. And sign 10 are harmful outcomes. At the end of the day, the surest sign of a cult is, the fruit it bears. Are its members like healthier, more free, more fulfilled, or are they anxious, broke, abused, and broken? If the group consistently hurts its own people, it's not faith or family, it's exploitation. In conclusion, having the name Jim Jones means that I could never really avoid this subject, but this is what I've learned. Nobody's immune. Smart, kind, ordinary people get drawn in, because they're searching for, wanting to belong, for hope, for answers. The real danger isn't just like out there. It could happen anywhere. Anytime a leader asks you to give up your independence, your critical thinking, your well-being, exchange for their loyalty, that's not cool. It's not right. So my unsolicited advice is this, like stay aware, keep questioning, and protect your own freedom of thought. If you've had experiences with groups like this, I'd love to hear your insights in the comments. And if you found this helpful, please like the video and share it. And subscribe for more conversations like this. I think in the future I'm gonna do a lot more, subjects similar to this. But anyway, thanks for watching. Jim Jones 3000 out.